Hey, what is going on everybody? My name is Payne and welcome to another anime review video. And in this video I decided I was going to review a show that came out a couple of years ago, hasn't really gained that much traction, so I felt like it was a safe pick to do because I don't really have that much time right now. And in this show we're going to be talking about Punchline. Punchline was directed by Yutaka Uemura and was made by the studio MAPPA, which has made shows such as Kids on the Slope and Yuri on Ice. It consisted of 12 episodes and was aired in the spring of 2015. After the anime was released, there was a manga known as Punchline Max and a Punchline video game that was released for the PS4 and the PS Vita in Japan in 2016 and will be released in late 2018 worldwide. So the story begins with a guy by the name of Yuta whose soul is taken out of his body. He later discovers that the only way that he can get his soul out of his body is to prevent a meteor from hitting Earth. And while he's doing that, he also discovers a few secrets about a few of his roommates living in the apartment that he lives in, known as the Karai House. And while trying to solve that, he also has a thing where if he sees someone's panties that his spiritual power goes full overload because of his soul's out of his body, he's practically a ghost, a spirit. And it doesn't stop there. If he sees another pair of panties, like 2 consecutively in a span of like 30 seconds, he has so much spiritual energy that he ends up drawing the meteor down to Earth way quicker than it should be and ends up destroying the world. Yeah, I know, that's a lot to take in. But throughout the first few episodes of the series, we discover a few things about the characters. First, we have Mika-tan, who is secretly a superhero known as Strange Juice and has these superpowers that, we'll get into the origins later. There is Micah, who is a tech prodigy and helps out with Mika-tan on all the superhero stuff, and it is later discovered that she is a robot that was made 20 years ago by the previous owner of the Karai House. Yeah, so technically she's the landlord. There is Iki, who is the NEET of the group, who instead of going to school, she stays in her room and plays on her computer all day and sometimes all night with her pet cub Mui. And finally, there is Lovera, or at least I think that's how you say her name, who is an exorcist who doesn't believe in spirits and also has a bad history with men. I'll let you imagine that last part. It is later revealed that there is a terrorist group known as the Kyumei Group, who announces at the beginning of the series that there will be a meteor hitting Earth. Everyone thought they were crazy, and it was later discovered that they were right. It was revealed around midway through the series that there were a couple of people in the Kyumei group that hacked a satellite that was able to change the gravitational pull of the meteor from just barely missing Earth to just hitting Earth straight on target. And so finding out exactly what's going to happen, finding out what's going on, Yuta ends up getting back into his body, fixes everything, and saves the world. But not before a few things happen. Now this is where things get confusing. Now around midway through the series, it is discovered that it was Yuta, Mika-tan, and a third character. It was later discovered that they were in a lab and that they have superhuman powers, and that those 3 people actually switched bodies at some point before the series began. See if I got this right. This was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do making these videos, was to find out who was in whose body.
12 seconds later.
What? Oh, no. Come on. No.
A few moments later.
Yuta, originally Pine, had a body-switching accident which resulted in Yuta's soul taking over Mika-tan's body. Consequently, Yuta has a male soul but a female body. In spite of this, Yuta considers himself male. Okay, I'm just reading this off. I honestly, forgot.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
What? Wait. I need to write this down. Hold on. Oh, shoot.
20 minutes later.
This is way too hard.
1 eternity later.
So I finally got this. It took me a few minutes, but I finally got it. Oh, wow, I should have researched this earlier. So it is Yuta, who is also known as Pine, or at least was while he was living in the lab. He was in Mika-tan's body. Mika-tan was in the body of the antagonist of the show named Guriko, who is the leader of the Kyume group, and Guriko was in Pine/Yuta's body. And shortly after the meteor was broken down, shortly after that the meteor was stopped, everyone goes back to their usual bodies. But because that Yuta was in Mikotan's body, his soul is male, but because he was in a female body, he identified himself more as a female, and he changed his persona from male to transgender, and had his name changed from Yuta to just Yu. And Mikotan ends up dying in it because she suffered a lot through Yuta's body, and so Mikotan ends up dying. So now let's get into the review portion. So now let's get into the review portion of this video. I'm just gonna get through some of the stuff that I thought were okay, that didn't really stand out that much. Which, if you think about it, is just mainly the art and the sound design. The art is alright. The sound design and the music was pretty interesting as well. The music is a really good indicator, especially in the opening, and there are a few songs that the characters would sing during a Christmas party. You could tell that this show was meant for men, but I'm not going to say more than that because I want you to hear the songs for yourself. The characters are very fun to watch, regardless of who you're looking at. They're all practically just bursting out with personality. They are out there. They are ready to show what they have. They're all uniquely different. Or in this case, they're all uniquely different. It's nothing new, but it is a pretty decent plus for the show. But the huge part, or in my opinion, what the best part of this show is, for me at least, is the plot and the logic. Now, in the first few episodes where I said that Yuta, his soul's taken out of his body, he looks at panties and he destroys the world. The first few episodes, for anyone who's new watching this, will just be ridiculous. It'll just have all this absurd shit thrown at you. You don't know what is what anymore. That all this stuff is happening. But I promise you, if you watch past episode 5, everything, I don't know how, but everything makes sense with the exception of a few plot holes. You could tell that the writers put time into making every absurd thing in the show make sense. They took time into putting the fact that Yuta is a spirit, the fact that there's a group that is hijacking a satellite that's going to bring a meteor down. They somehow make all of that make sense within the universe that they put this show in. And I'm giving them a huge plus for this. That is something that I personally saw that's interesting about the show. I said it was a huge plus, but I can also see some people saying that this is the downside of the show, because the first few episodes, you can imagine someone watching it and thinking that, they're going to see something very similar to, let's say, Haruhi Suzumiya, because it's about a character who can blow up the world or can end the world. But in reality, it turns into something else, and it could either save or end the enjoyment of an anime viewer at that point. So really, all I can say about this show is that patience is key. If you watch the first few episodes, it will be absurd, but it will be worth it if you keep watching the show. Now, again, there were a few open plot holes, a few in relation to Pine, Guriko, and Mikotan being in the area, or being in that lab, practically being lab rats for experiments, like, how did they get there? Or what happened, or anything like that. Or maybe they did answer it. There was a lot of detail in the story. But in my opinion, regardless if I knew a lot of information about it or not, I'm kind of right in the middle with it. I don't like it. I don't hate it. I'm kind of right in the middle of it. I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10, but I can also see some people saying that, it's a 6 out of 10 because of this thing, or it's a 9 out of 10 because of this thing. But for me, I'm going to stay right in the middle, just get this over with, and it's a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching this video on Punchline. If you like this video, press the thumbs up button under the video. If you want to see more anime review videos, you can press subscribe. My name is Payne, and I'll see you in the next video.